Hi everyone, I'm Benik, a gospel artist, and I'm from Enugu State. So I actually want to talk about my encounter with Christ, and I believe it will bless someone. This for you already, because I guess and I believe that my encounter will prompt someone's encounter with Jesus. So growing up, I was born into a Christian home, and then when we were small, my mom would always wake up us in the morning to pray and to thank God for the privilege to live again. She made us to understand that we shouldn't be joking with the gift of access, and we should always thank God for the gift of life. So then, to my JS1, I moved into a hostel, a boarding house, and it wasn't easy. The experiences there wasn't easy. Then it was a missionary school, but me being in a missionary school doesn't mean I knew Christ. I was still living in flesh and doing all sort of things. So fast forward to 2019, I had the shock of my life. Then I had kidney failure. Yeah, you heard me right. I had kidney failure. And this started with just normal malaria and typhoid that everybody know. So I was working at Bon Hotel Sunshine then, and while on duty, I started feeling somehow that something is actually wrong with me. So I took a break from work to carry out a test and actually know what was wrong with me. So when the test result came out, it was shown that I had malaria and typhoid. So I treated myself. After 1 week, I resumed work. And I noticed that I couldn't laugh. Or rather, I couldn't even smile, not to talk of me laughing. So I was like, what's this? What's this thing now? And I took a break again to also treat myself. And I went for scan. So after the scan result, it was shown that I had kidney disease. So I can't actually remember the medical name they gave me, but it was told I have kidney disease. So I returned with the scan result and I showed it to my mom. My mom started crying because she already lost one of my siblings to kidney failure. That was in 2008 when I was still small. Yeah, I lost one of my sisters to kidney failure. So my mom started crying, and me, I went into my room because I just graduated from secondary school 2 years ago. And this was happening in that year, 2019. So I went into my room, I brought out all my school files, my documents, and all those awards I won in school then as a senior prefect and all that. So I brought it out and I was going through it and my pictures. So I was like, wow, so this is how I'm going to end up. It was so funny because later my mentor in music taught me that the devil cannot harm us. One of the things he does is to create systems. And one of the systems the devil has created is fear. You see this thing called fear. Fear is so powerful. They might tell you that you have maybe hepatitis B. The sickness might not kill you, but once fear comes in, you can die. You get? So I brought out my stuff and I was going through all those things and I was like, so this is how I'm going to end up. So all of a sudden, a spirit came in me and I was like, I shouldn't be afraid. I should just leave it and let me just leave it to God. Then I was doing that. I knew Christ, but I haven't had an encounter. I haven't had a genuine encounter with Christ. So my mom was like, okay, let's visit the hospital the next day. We started going to the hospital. We came, they gave us bed, they admitted us in the hospital, and they started giving me treatment. So I stayed my first 3 days in the hospital. I woke up the next morning and I noticed that I couldn't walk because my 2 testes were swollen and I couldn't walk. So the doctors were like, this is unlike what I've seen so far in the medical profession. And my 2 testes swollen up wasn't just the case. My chest now, it was so heavy that if I managed to stand up from the pain of the 2 testes that was swollen up, I have to wait for the pain of my heart to subdue for me to walk. So this thing became worse. It became so severe. I was in a private hospital. A private hospital. They had to refer me to a teaching hospital. So they asked my mom and my family members to choose either maybe UNTH or Parkland, all located here in Enugu. And my mom chose Parkland and they referred me to Parkland. So then I was not myself again. I was losing consciousness. It was just people around me that was just my mom and my siblings. And my father was already late. So we came to Parkland, they admitted us, they started treatment, and all of a sudden, normal kidney failure, all of a sudden we just swell up and it will just compress you. You become become so tiny and lean. So all these things happened to me and all that. This journey started January 14th, 2019. And while impacting, when I could still recall some certain things, that should be around April. So you can check the months interval that I already gone. So we started having treatments and all that. So started going for dialysis. I know what it costs to go for kidney dialysis. So all of a sudden, the doctor said that they're not going to make it, that it's beyond their normal stuff and all that. So that they guess I should maybe go for a transplant. And then they said the two kidneys are already damaged, not even just one, that the two are already damaged. So that I should go for a transplant for the two. And you know what it requires for a kidney transplant, not to talk of the two kidneys. So all these things happened, and my mom is someone that so much believes in God. Yeah, she prays a lot. She so much believes in God and the power behind his resolution. So my mom was like, okay, she invited our pastor over to the hospital to always come and pray for me. So every morning the pastor comes, he prays for me, and he gives me Holy Communion, the body and the blood of Christ. So after all this, the hospital were like, they should just take me home since we don't have money, because the money, according to the story my mom told, he said the money for the transplant then for the both kidneys was 25 million. And they ran around, the family could just raise 14. So they were just running around to actually know if they can maybe get help from somewhere or to no avail. The hospital was like, okay, they are going to discharge me. They should just take me home, and maybe I should just wait for a miracle. Or maybe that even that time, that the chance of me surviving the transplant, if it should be done, is so tiny and so small. So all these things happened, and they brought me back. I wasn't even getting myself. The pastor kept on coming to my house, praying for me and all that. So all those things happened, and there's one thing we should know about God. The Bible said that God, he sees us just as we are, and he said you should come to him just the way we are. It doesn't matter maybe you don't know about him, because the Bible said something in John 3:16, and it said, for God so loved the world that he gave out his only begotten son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish. He said, for God so loved the world. That is to tell you that everybody, both the sinners, both the atheists, both the believers, everybody is just encapsulated in that word. So you don't actually maybe necessarily need to be a servant for you to obtain the love of Christ. So the love of Christ is actually something that is free. So all this while, the pastor kept on coming to our house to pray for me and all that. He prayed, and my mom, all night, my mom doesn't sleep. You know, someone that has kidney failure, you are just stuck in one place. You urinate, you defecate. It's just people around you that will just be going all through all that, and tears will flow, everything out. Even me, at a point, I was like, I think I should give up. Even me, I knew I gave up at a point. I knew I gave up at a point, but you know, someone's faith can actually stand for you. So there's a gap that someone's faith can actually close up for you. So I believe that my mom's faith and the grace of God was what kept me alive, because my own strength has failed me. And remember, I said I was thinking maybe I knew God, but I just understood that I didn't even know God then. So I slept, I think, I can remember, this thing started January, April, May, June. So it was around June. I slept on the 12th of June, 2019, with everything and so howling I have become and all that. Waking up 13th of June, 2019, I came out from my room myself. So this to tell that God healed me of that kidney failure without a transplant. It was just like a mystery, and till today, nobody can give account of how it happened. So this is actually one of my encounters. And before that healing became so perfect, while in the hospital bed, I think a week before I was discharged to go and die, or maybe wait for the date of my death, I slept, and it wasn't a dream, because it was early in the morning, and I could remember I woke up and I touched my mom that I needed to urinate. So she brought the penta and I urinated. So just while closing my eye, I wasn't asleep, someone appeared to me, and it happens to be angel of the Lord, and he said, I am the Lord your God, and I am always with you. So then something kept ringing in my mind. It was an Igbo song. I later converted it to a song. It was like Idi Ebube, Idi Uku, Idi Itunai. So in English, it means I am great, I am glorious, and I do awesome wonders. So this is what kept ringing in my mind. This is this is what the angel of the Lord was saying, and I picked it from there and I started saying it. So that became my confession. It became my revelation. You get, so I started reciting all those things, the words and everything. So when God did all those things later and it became a mystery, I couldn't tell the story of my life just maybe in words. I decided to pen it down in a song. So that was how EDW came in. So, but before this particular encounter in 2019, I already had an encounter. That is to tell you, you might have an encounter with Christ, but you might not know maybe the gravity or the tendency of what you've gone through. So it takes only a grateful heart, and that's why at times I do tell people that may we never be forgetful of what the Lord has done for us. So because in 2010 I had an accident, you can see a mark on my head. So this is one of the stuff that the accident inflicted on me. We're on a camp, we are on our road going to ACM camp with Anglican Church then. So I think I was 10 years old then. So we had an accident. So along that express of 4 corners in Enugu, our motor somersaulted 4 times from up the bridge down to the floor. So we are 41 on the car, 10 died, remaining 31 persons. So a lot of persons had severe injuries. So I died at the spot. And they moved our body to UNTH, but they didn't know I died there. So when they brought me to UNTH, and after all stuff, and it was notified that I died maybe some minutes or maybe some hours ago. So they deposited me in the mortuary. And then my mom has gone for a mogo, one of my big sisters that I put to bed. So she was in Port Harcourt. So all these things, so they called her and she left Port Harcourt to Enugu. And when she came, they have already deposited my dead body on the mortuary. And when she came, she was like, no, that Sopruchuku cannot die. That this is not one of the promises of God over my life. That she knew what God promised her about me and whatever that would come with me in my journey with him. So that if she can't bring me out, they were like, ma, they deposited this dead body over 2 hours ago. She was like, that I'm not dead, they should go and pull me out from the mortuary. So the hospital had no option that to obey her. So they went and brought me out. My mom knelt down and was praying for me. So the one that is dead and was deposited 2 hours ago. So my mom prayed for over 1 hour, 30 minutes, and I sneezed and got up. So that was my first encounter. And the 2019 was the whole one for me that summarized everything. So I just want to, the reason I'm sharing this story is not maybe to make you feel no, but there's one thing about God's encounter. It makes a man better. And nobody have encounter with Christ and remains the same. Once you have encounter with Christ, intimacy and fruitfulness is the natural result. So I don't know, but in 1 or 2 ways, there's how God might be speaking to you, and that is an encounter. So to me personally, that healing in 2019 became my own conviction and revelation about who God is. So when we wrote the song EDW, we are just actually penning down the history or maybe the story of my life and journey with God. No matter the song that God will still give me, EDW remains my best. It's not maybe about the lyrics, but it's about the revelation and the testimony that comes with the song. Do you get? So the name of the Lord, the Bible said, is a strong tower, and the righteous run into it, and they are saved. Do you get? The name of the Lord is what makes the difference. So encounter with Christ makes someone extraordinary. It makes you stand out in whatever you do, in every sphere of life. It makes you stand out. That is one thing encounter with Christ can do. You get? So encounter with Jesus is something that every believer should cherish. It's something that every believer should hunger for. That is what encounter with Christ is all about. So the story of my life is not something that is just maybe common. For me to survive kidney failure and maybe got up from death, it shows that a human being cannot kill me. It gets out. So because I've been through thick and thin and nothing. So if death and kidney failure couldn't take my life, what is juju? So my encounter with Christ is something that is superior, something that is so unique. I don't know of your own encounter, but I'm talking about my own encounter with Christ Jesus. And ever since 2019 to date, I can beat my chest and say, yes, I'm on the Lord's side because of the encounter I had. So encounter makes you take your journey with Christ so serious and so serious about it. Your encounter speaks volume. So if you have encounter with Christ, it opens doors for you. It makes you understand your calling, makes you understand your purpose, and you don't live outside purpose once you have encountered Jesus. So encounter with Jesus also makes you understand and discover your life purpose as a human being. So I'm actually sharing this story to motivate you and tell you that encounter with Christ is something that every believer and every Christian should hunger for. Thank you.